Hi there, my name's Debbie and this is the You Matter Self-Care Summit for Working Mums. And tonight we're with Elle Bussey and she's a reflexologist and she's discussing tonight reflexology and relaxation techniques. Lovely to have you on the show, Elle.
Lovely, thank you so much for that lovely introduction, Debbie. And thank you so much for you lovely people for joining in this evening. And welcome to the wonderful world of reflexology. I'll be sharing with you this evening some helpful relaxation methods and reflex points that you can use on doing yourself, on your hands and on your feet. And I'll show specific points that support with relaxation and with relieving stress to help promote your natural optimal health. And it will hopefully help you with grounding yourself, helping you to feel rejuvenated, and in turn maximizing your full potential in your workplace and with its balance with everyday life. So as a working mum, as working mothers, we often find ourselves doing so much for other people. And of course, it's so important that we take some time, that we carve out some time for ourselves, a little bit of me time, where we can pamper ourselves and recharge our own batteries so that we're really able to really give our best selves. So if you like, you can also check out my YouTube channel, Healing Touch Reflexology, which covers it. If you want to know a little bit about the safety of reflexology, or if you're unsure about going ahead with it, it's a good little quick video that will just give you a basic overview if it's safe for you. Or if you might need GP advice prior to having a session or a treatment, for example, diabetes, heart conditions, deep vein thrombosis, if you have cancer or blood issues, then it is important that you consult your doctor first before you give yourself reflexology. So otherwise it's pretty safe, it's very safe therapy that's very soothing and very gentle. And before I start, I'll just briefly explain a little bit about reflexology and the theory behind how it works. So reflexology is a gentle and non-invasive holistic therapy that is based on the principle that there are reflex points in the feet, the hands and the ears, and that these reflex points correspond to different parts of your body. And in a reflexology treatment, gentle pressure is applied to these reflex points using the thumbs, the fingers and the hands to stimulate thousands of nerve endings, and combining this with relaxation, massage and some little techniques, which I'll be showing you a few today, that can help to result in an overall sense of well-being and an overall sense of balance, where everything feels nice and balanced and it helps your body to work naturally the best it can. So I'll dive right in then to a little bit of reflexology with some specific points that will help to calm the mind, help decrease fatigue and improve your overall focus, and hopefully tomorrow you'll go back to work feeling rejuvenated and full of energy. And these are points that you can then take away and do on yourself in your own time as well. So before you start doing any reflexology pressure points, a nice thing to do first is just to gently relax into the session rather than straight away pressing into points. And that just helps you to bring a little bit of awareness into the moment and just to calm your mind. So to relax into the session, we'll do a really simple little thing together where I'd just like you to bring your awareness to your breathing. As you inhale, filling your lungs fully and just grounding and centering yourself. And then as you exhale, emptying your chest, allow yourself to let go of any negative thoughts, any worries that have been on your shoulders that day, or pain. Just let it all out as you breathe out. And then again, as you inhale, you can imagine your lungs filling with like a pure, bright light, just like the shine of a sun rising in the morning when it's bright and white. So you can imagine that dazzling light filling your lungs and just allowing yourself to fully relax. The most important thing is that you try to relax your breathing, breathing slower and taking your time as you breathe. So there are a few pressure points that I really want to show this evening that are specifically to help for you working mums with feeling re-energized around work and just to help you relax and have a little bit of pampering me time. So the points that I'll be showing you are the adrenals and the kidneys, the solar plexus and the shoulders. These are points that center around stress relief, relaxation and calming. So with reflexology, you want aim to help the parasympathetic system to go into a gentle state of relaxation. You don't need to overstimulate any of the points that I'm going to show you, as it won't serve your overall well-being. It's good just to keep to a few points, especially if it's the first time that you're trying out reflexology. The feet have so many nerve endings, it is very sensitive. So it's very quick and easy to do. So for stress relief, I'm starting with the kidneys, and I'll first show it on the hands before I go to show it on the feet. The kidneys are uniquely structured to help filter the blood and to produce urine. They can relate to going with the flow, and they can be linked with various fears, as well as filtering out what is helpful to you, what is not so helpful to you right now in serving your overall well-being, and helping to support you with letting go of feelings, especially with how things have been lately, with having to possibly work from home or have the children around whilst working. Whatever your circumstances are, working the kidneys can help with feelings of overwhelm, worries, fears and anxieties. And the reflex point for the kidneys is located on the palm of your hand. With reflexology, we always try to start with the right hand before we go on to the left hand. And you'll find it over the adductor pollicis muscle below the index finger. And to best demonstrate, I'll just highlight the point there on my hand. Sorry, I got a little smudge there. So this is the point for the kidneys, and we'll be working that point there with our thumb. When you work it on yourself, you would cradle your hands a bit like how you're cradling a baby. You would have your hands down here, but as I demonstrate it, I'll just place my hand up here to show. So with your thumb, I'd like you to do 3 to 6 rotations in a little circle clockwise, and then again anti-clockwise. And you don't have to press too hard. You can do this very gently. At no point do I want you to hurt yourself. And then we'll take the left hand, and you can repeat that on the left hand. So your kidneys point would be here, and using your thumb to do 3 to 6 circles clockwise and anti-clockwise. It doesn't matter too much which direction you start with. It's just important that you balance the move out on both of your hands. After you've done the 6 to 10 rotations, you can then work that on the feet as well if you are working on someone else, or you might be relaxing with your feet up. Kidneys pressure point is located in below the big toe, in the midfoot, right here. So to find the midfoot, if you take the side of your foot with the pinky, you'll feel a little bony bit in the center, and that's the middle of your foot. So then if you go right across, that will be where your kidneys are. So they might be a slightly bit higher on your own feet. And you'd repeat the exact same move that we did on your hands, but on the feet, doing 3 to 6 circular rotations in one direction and repeated on the other. And you'd do that move on both of your feet. Right here and right here. So below the big toes in the midfoot. This can really help with stress relief and supporting with letting go of any worries, and that's why I like to start with this one to help with releasing before we go on to points that can help with relaxing. The next point that is really helpful with releasing stress are the adrenals. The reflex point that relates to adrenals is really easy to find once you've located the kidneys, as they are right above the kidneys pressure point, just like they are in the body. So the adrenals, they produce the hormones that help to regulate your metabolism, your immune system, and blood pressure, the way in which you respond to stress, and so many other essential functions. So when you think adrenals, you're thinking adrenaline and stress relief. So working your adrenals, for a working mum, that is really helpful just to help you de-stress at the end of the day. It's also a great point because these points on the hand are very discreet, and you could do it in a stressful meeting, before a talk, or before a staff meeting or something. You could be working these points on yourself, and it's a very calm, relaxed demeanor and body positioning. There's nothing fidgety about when you are holding onto your points from your hands, just by cradling your hands. So the adrenals are right above the kidneys. To find them, that you'll just follow below your index finger until you locate the adrenals right there just above. To work these, you'd do 6 to 10 rotations over the adrenals, starting on the right hand and then going over onto the left hand. And again, you don't need to apply so much pressure as to hurt yourself, but just a really gentle, soothing pressure. The nice thing with reflexology is you don't need a medium to do it. You can just do it straight away without any creams, lotions, balms. But if you do want to apply a bit of balm, lotion, or moisturizer for that extra little pampering feel, then you absolutely go ahead. So then on the feet, the pressure point for the adrenals is located again just above the pressure point for the kidneys, so which are slightly to the side of the foot below the big toe. There you have the kidneys, so just above it would be your adrenals. And again, so right in the center of the foot below the big toe, just above the kidneys, would be your adrenal point. And so you would repeat the exact same move on the feet if either you're doing your own feet or doing someone else's. This is a self-care session, so definitely be doing it on yourself. And as you do that, you might sometimes feel a little bit of crunching, popping feelings, or it might just feel a little bit crunchy. That's absolutely fine. Just work that little bit extra over that point until it feels nice and smooth. Again, without hurting yourself, you can do that very gently. Crunching and popping sounds can sometimes be an indication of an imbalance, but the great news is if you're working your hands right now and it all feels nice and soft and smooth, that's a really positive sign that things are nicely balanced and working well in a nice balanced way. So that's great. So after you've done the adrenal glands, on your hands. We've just done the circular rotations there. I'm just going to throw in another move that I really like to do on the adrenal glands, which are thumb presses. So you find the point, and then using your thumb, you press into that point. If you like, you can slightly curve your hand inwards, like scrunch it in as you press into that point with your thumb. And I do about 3 to 6 thumb presses into that point to really help release any stress or tension and support the flow of energy back into that body area. So doing that, if you can remember to, on the right hand side, then again on your left hand side hand, the most important thing is that you balance it out on both hands, that when you do it on one side, you do it on the other. We start, reflexologists tend to start with the right hand, which is more representative of the past and male side, whereas the left hand is more your present side and state of things in your body, your mind, and your spirit. So lastly, there's a couple more points that I'll be showing, one for anxiety and another for burdens. And seeing how we're doing for time, I might throw in a couple more. I think we're doing quite good for time. So for burdens and pressures, especially with how much a working mum can take on her shoulders in day-to-day life, just trying to manage and balance everything, it is really helped to have a pressure point as a go-to that can help to support with releasing some of that. So the pressure point that I'll be showing for that are the shoulders, as they are linked to pressures that we bear on our shoulders and burdens of life, sometimes taking on too much. And so this is a really good pressure point to work, as well as most people do tend to carry quite a bit of tension up here. So it is a lovely point to do. So the adrenals, by the end of this, my hand will look a bit Picasso. We've done the adrenals, so we'll now be doing the shoulders. So the shoulders, they're just below your small finger right here. And you can really work, when we're going to work this with our thumb, you can really work all the way around from the side of your hand all to the front of that hand, all around that blue circle there that that blue shape that I've done here. So the shoulders are on both hands just below that small finger. And when you work that, this is a very common point where people notice a little bit of crunching when they're doing a little bit of work there. So to work this point, we're just going to do a little bit of snailing. So imagine your thumb is now a little snail and it's snailing across that shoulder point in little lines across and then upwards, and then finishing off with some nice big circles all over that shoulder point. That shoulder point, you can carry on to do these circles and working up in snails upwards and across with your thumb, as long as it feels comfortable, and just carry down, especially if you do feel a little bit of crunching, and that feels quite relieving to work that point, and absolutely just work that a little bit more, maybe come back to it tomorrow. So I often get asked as well, how long should I leave it in between when I work pressure points? Because we don't want to overstimulate when we are working with these nerve endings. So what I say is it's important to leave a good 24 hours at least between doing these pressure points to allow your system to all balance itself out and calm back down. So for the shoulders, make sure again to work them on both hands, and I'll show them on the feet. Again, the feet we always start to find that they actually mirror the hands quite a lot in where the pressure points are. So just below the small pinky toe there, the little piggy, you've got your shoulder right here on the top forefoot there. And again on this side, just below the little piggy toe, just on the forefoot. So again, to work that area, you can go across in like a little grid with your thumb, and then going upwards in a grid. And it doesn't matter if you're going up or down, across left to right or right to left, as long as you're really working that whole point. And I'm showing with my finger there, but as I turn around, I'll show it now with my thumb. So, so with the thumb, you'd be snailing across in a grid, not worrying too much if it's left to right or right to left, but just making sure you cover that whole shoulder area, and even going round the side of that shoulder just below the small toe. So on the feet especially, that can be really, really relieving to work that pressure point. And after working that some time, you might just feel some of that crunching go away as the energy starts to flow better around that body area. Alongside with the shoulders can go, we have a lot to balance out. When you're working mum, you might be balancing family life, work, and so many other things. So I really want to give just a really overall helpful spectrum of pressure points that will help all areas of stress relief and relaxation. So I'll finish off with the last couple of points. The first one that I'll do is about doom, for feelings of sadness, feelings of doom or difficulty with communicating, especially at this time where the lungs have been affected, and this is a prominent area where people are suffering at the moment or have a lot of things that they're holding onto their chest. So therefore, I like to show the pressure point for the lungs, as that can really help with letting go of some of the deeper things that we might be holding onto our chest, and help to make us feel safe with having the ability to have a safe space where we can communicate safely how we feel and express ourselves safely. So to work the chest, it's just across from the shoulders right here. Right here we have the lungs and then the heart. So just below these fingers here. And then again on the other hand, so all across this area just below the fingers. So the chest area will be doing the lungs and the heart, and I'll just section them off a little bit separately. So the lungs are in the center of your fingers, below your centered fingers. And again, you can carry on working in a grid like a snail, like the snail move that we just did. And if you remember the pumps that we did earlier, we'll be bringing that into the chest here to do chest pumps. So we'll be doing this on the lungs, using your thumb and pressing your thumb down into that chest pressure point, into the lungs pressure point. You can curve your hand a little bit like that as you press into the palm, into your lungs pressure point. And right next to it here would be the heart, just on the side. So we've got the shoulders, and slightly overlapping on the hand is the heart. For the heart, we'd just do a really gentle stroke 3 times or 6 times. Just very, very gentle, like a little caress. And as you do it, like setting the intention that you're sending yourself a little bit of love. And then when it comes to your lungs, you can do nice little thumb presses into your lungs, helping to remove any blockages there. And it is associated to the throat chakra, so helping with communication. And last of all, to finish this off, we started with the kidneys, which help with filtering. To support that further with letting go, releasing stress, and helping our immune system to do its natural thing the best it can. I'll be showing how to do a little bit of lymph drainage. So the lymphs relate to our immune system, helping and support the immune system clear itself of any toxic waste. So to do that, it is on the hands. I'll then go on to show these moves on the feet. On the hands, you take both your hands like that, and you scissor both your fingers in between like that, squeezing at the top and squeezing at the bottom. Between your fingers, you would go all the way in, pressing down, and do squeeze, bring it out, squeeze, bring it out a little bit, squeeze. So the movement I'll repeat, is coming outwards like that, and I'm squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. So you'd squeeze between the thumbs first, and then you'd squeeze between each of your fingers individually. And you squeeze by putting your hands all the way in and then taking them outwards to the tip of your fingers. And as you do that, that helps to drain all your upper limbs and helps with supporting with moving that energy there, and moving any energy blockages in the lymphatic system. So this move is really important, I find, and helpful when you've just gone and done all that work to help support with anxiety, relieving stress, relaxing yourself. Then it's nice to make sure you've let go and released any last little bits that might be lingering about. Now you repeat that on both hands, and then I'll show these last few moves on how we do them on the feet. Some people, when they do the lymphs, they might notice that they're all swollen on their hands or between the fingers when they first, before they do this move. And then they go to do this and they wake up the next morning and they see that the swelling's gone down. And that can often be an indication that there was a little bit of blockage going on, and that's a really positive thing when you see your hands all nice like that the next day, and that the swelling's gone down, if any. So solar plexus is the one that I'd say is the one that you might want to bring into your everyday life to help with self-soothing and self-relaxing. If you don't have the time to go through all these points, this is the go-to one that I find is really helpful, as it's in your core. And it's all to do with centering. It's all to do with your self-esteem, your self-confidence. And it's like if you imagine this little web of ganglions and nerves that are just coming out in your core, like a little sunshine spreading its rays. And that's your solar plexus. So that point I showed you at the beginning, in the center of your palm, right at the top there, is your being your solar plexus. Did I go through that? No, I didn't. Let's go over it. Your solar plexus is the go-to one that I'd say you can do this daily. You can do this if you're out in a crowd and you just really need to relax yourself. If you need 2 minutes to unwind, this point will really help ground yourself and calm yourself. So the solar plexus point is, most of us have a line that go atop and the top, that goes atop through the top of the palm of our hand, and in the center of that line we have our solar plexus. To find that, scrunch your hand in, and it's right in the middle of that point there. That's your solar plexus. So you'd work it on your right hand by doing little circles like we've done with the kidneys and adrenals, and repeating the circles in one direction, then in the other. You can do that about 6 to 10 times, and a bit more if you feel comfortable with it. Just don't hurt yourself at any point. There's really no need to cause yourself pain when you self-apply reflexology. It's all about enjoying it and feeling a gentle, nurturing touch that you're giving to yourself. So then make sure to work that on both hands, starting on the right and doing it on your left hand. And that can really help with feelings of anxiety, feelings of fear and unsureness. And for a working mum, this is the pressure point that is your go-to when you want to be full of energy for work, feeling balanced, sharp-minded and confident in yourself. You go to your solar plexus point. So I'll quickly show you these last few points that I demonstrated on the hands, now on the feet. So we had the shoulders, which were below the little toe, and then we have the lungs, which are below these 3 little toes there. And then we have the heart, which is just around here. So for this whole area, you can work with your thumb snailing across. And if you feel any crunching or popping, that may be an indication of a little imbalance. So feel free to work that area a little bit more, again, without hurting yourself. And then when you get over to your heart area, just a few little strokes downwards, really gently, just like a little gentle caress as you go down. And that's covering your shoulders, chest area to help with communication, to help with tension or burdens that you might be carrying on your shoulders. And then just a little self-soothing move by caressing over the heart. After that, I did the lymphs between the fingers on the hands. So lymph drainage on the feet is pretty similar. You go between the toes and taking your hands, you press down between all of the toes, pinching on the top of the foot and pinching at the bottom of the foot with 2 fingers. So starting all the way in and then pinching out. And then repeating that between all the toes on your feet. Again, some people might have a little bit of swelling there or even a little bit of crunching when things might be a little bit blocked, or otherwise it might just feel absolutely lovely when you gently work this point, in which case that's lovely too. Mostly it just feels really nice to be supporting that immune system with doing its own thing, and by helping the lymph drain, usually it helps you feel rejuvenated afterwards and a lot more pumped up and ready for work. So last of all, I then demonstrated the solar plexus, which between all these moves that I have shown you, the solar plexus, you can just throw that in there and incorporate it a few times between all of these moves, as many times as you like, because it is a really pleasant pressure point to gently work. So the solar plexus reflex point on the feet is found in the center at the top of the forefoot, right in the middle here. So when you're doing it on someone's foot, you can scrunch the toes and there'll be a little line there that appears on the foot. And right in the center of that line, that's your solar plexus. So again, on the left foot, I'll just press it on both feet. It's right in the middle. Now, to better demonstrate all of these points, I do also have reflexology foot maps, which are available from my Etsy shop, Healing Touch Reflex. And this can help you to find pressure points on the feet. On the feet, the maps are nice and clear and easy to see, but sometimes when you're working on your hands, a lot of the points overlap, so it's really helpful to have a reflexologist talk you through these points and just show them to you directly. If you really want to go deep, you can also incorporate the press and slide move, where you press your thumb down into the pressure point that you're working, and then you slide your thumb across. So that would be like this, pressing into a pressure point and then sliding across. And that's if you really want a deep pressure and to just go that little bit extra. It isn't necessary with reflexology to go for deep pressure for it to be effective. In fact, I find it really effective myself by applying a very gentle, very light pressure. So when you are going deep, again, just make sure not to hurt yourself or bruise yourself. And you can, if you are going to do this move and go deeply, you can work all the zones on your hand or on your feet by applying pressure and pressing, sliding, all across these zones. And you can imagine like a grid, and then do it one way and then do it in the other direction. Again, not too important if you're going left to right or right to left, just ensuring you're covering all the zones. On the feet, it would be pretty similar. If you're going for this deeper pressure, you'd be pressing down and sliding, pressing down and sliding, pressing down and sliding, and just covering all the meridians and zones in a straight line like that. And then again, you could do it across, just covering the whole surface of the sole of the feet. When you do that, if you can, try to remember to start on the right foot before you go on to the left foot. And just most importantly, make sure to balance things out by repeating whatever reflex point you've stimulated on one side to make sure you repeat that move on the other side, so things stay nice and balanced within your whole body. When you finish, you can finish off with what we call effleurage, which is a really gentle caress and like gentle sweeping motion. If you've got a nice little cream or moisturizer that you want to use at this point, you can apply it, and it's a nice little way to cool down at the end. So to cool down at the end, apart from caressing, I do definitely recommend including the solar plexus point, be that some thumb presses or little circles into the solar plexus, but also repeating the move that we did on the heart. So on the heart, we just did a little gentle stroking, and this is a nice move to repeat at the end on the solar plexus, a little stroking with your thumb in the center of that solar plexus that is linked with your self-confidence, self-esteem, and overall well-being and your inner power. So, to help support with these pressure points, to everyone that has joined in today's live video, or for anyone watching this on catch up, I am offering 25% off for all viewers of the Healing Summit for all my shop for mapping prints and reflexology footprints. Simply use code SMILE25 at checkout, and you can get that little discount. And so when you make time for yourself, it is just really important, if you can, and you've made that effort to carve out a little bit of time for yourself, is just make sure to set that space for you, and that can really add a nice touch and really make you feel extra relaxed when you're taking this time aside from your day to do a bit of self-care. So before you do a bit of reflexology, or even afterwards, if you want to carry on that lovely relaxing energy, a few things that you can do to support your self-care are having wind chimes, which their vibrational sounds can help to bring calm, peace and tranquility. Something maybe a bit more fun and silly, like blowing bubbles or balloons. The deep breathing that's required for blowing bubbles and balloons is really great for relaxation and for stress relief. Or dancing to your favorite music, as well as shaking therapy. That's also known as therapeutic tremoring, where you simply shake off stress. You might look a little bit silly, but that's all part of the fun. And shaking is a natural way to help release tension and trauma from the body. Animals still to this day will naturally shake to help relieve tension after a life-threatening event. So a little bit of shaking can really change the energy of how you feel, just like that, within a few seconds. Or just taking a little bit of you time, remembering to spend a little bit of time with yourself, quietly if possible, or just doing a little bit of art, writing in your gratitude journal, spending time in the garden, connecting with nature, or just clearing your space with a bit of loving intention. Reflexology isn't just about the pressure points, but the whole overall state of well-being. And I hope that you can take away some of these points that will help support you alongside your work life as a working mum. So thank you so much all for joining this evening. If there are any pressure points that you would like me to show you one-on-one, or any further things that you'd like to discuss with me, absolutely feel free to get in touch. And thank you so much to everyone who's managed to join on this evening, or for anyone catching up on replay. And thank you, Debbie, for giving me the opportunity to have this little talk this evening with these fabulous ladies.